It's now been a couple of months since Vladimir Putin announced his draft. It's a draft, he calls it a mobilization. It's a national draft. They're drafting hundreds of thousands of people to throw them into a meat grinder in Ukraine so that he can get prestige or something. The Russian people get literally nothing, but Vladimir Putin sees some sort of gain in it. And you're probably wondering, well, how is that going? Well, here's how it's going. On Friday, he announced that 16,000 recruits have already been deployed to combat units, so they're fighting in Ukraine right now. Some had as few as 5 to 10 days of training, which is probably enough. I'm not an expert, but that's probably enough to fight a war. So they're already at the front and they're already dying, to be clear. One conscript who was interviewed was asked about his shooting practice. He said once 3 magazines. He shot 3 magazines and that was his training to go to war. Other men are observed as having no machine guns, nothing, no clothes, no shoes. Half of them are hungover, old, at risk. The ambulance should be on duty. In one video that went viral, a recruit from Moscow assigned to the 1st Tank Regiment said that the regimental commander had announced that there would be no shooting practice or even theoretical training before the men deployed. And elsewhere, scores of soldiers ready to be sent to the front had people passing things through a fence to them. Boots, berets, bulletproof vests, backpacks, sleeping bags, camping mats, medicine, bandages, and food, because it is not being provided to them by the actual military. And so if you're wondering, well, wait, that seems like a recipe for a whole lot of these recruits to be killed in Ukraine. Yes, that is what is going to happen. It is needless, it is awful. Every single one of those deaths, there is no reason that it needs to happen. They can and should leave right now. If not today, tomorrow would be a great day too. You could just get out of Ukraine, but Vladimir Putin is not allowing them to. And we've got even worse information about how they're getting some of these soldiers. But Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that this should naturally show that Vladimir Putin and his regime are at a weak point here, because the whole point of this special military operation, as they were trying to call it internally, was that it wasn't going to affect the lives of regular Russian people. It wasn't going to affect the economy, even though there were worldwide sanctions going on, and that it would be over in a couple months. None of those things are happening. And now you're having it affect people at the most that it can, where you're having people, like apparently we're getting reports of the Russian police pulling people out of apartment buildings, coffee shops, just pulling them into conscription.
Homeless shelters.
Homeless shelters.
Gangs. It's old school press gangs. They're going around to places where they think these are undesirables that nobody's gonna miss, and they're taking them and they're conscripting people into the military against their will. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, and the issue in the beginning of this invasion was that the people who were part of the Russian military, who theoretically had more than 3 magazines in a week of training, were already getting slaughtered by the Ukrainian military. So like, by sending even less prepared troops with even fewer weapons and even fewer defenses, I mean, it's like the Starship Troopersification of the Russian military operation. Like, it's just like one of those war movies in the first 20 minutes where the first wave of people get killed. But like in reality, like I think of this in an international like solidarity kind of sense. Like these are just regular people, often working class, who are just tossed into this condition to die because of their dictator's ego issue. I despise that. I hate that.
Yeah, we hated, like in the run up to Iraq and Afghanistan, we hated like that the media would always present like what the regime wanted you to believe and encourage people to enlist for that reason. We hate the military recruiters who go to schools and try to get people to go to the military. We don't like that sort of pressure. But let's keep in mind, this is way worse. They are literally just going in and they went to the dormitories for a construction company. They rounded up more than 200 men. And they're just sending them to the front to die. These are not vets. These are people who are supposed to be doing drywall. And they are going to be going up against Ukrainian tanks soon. This is awful. I hate the deaths of the Ukrainian civilians and the fact that Russia just launched a series of dozens of Iranian-made kamikaze drones, just explosives that fly and just go and fly into something. That's terrible. But I also don't want these Russian soldiers to leave or to lose their lives needlessly in a war that they have no interest in. And I know that these people have no interest in it because so many people are desperately trying to get out of that country.
For
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.